Guys, a lot of people see it, but pretend not to notice. You know that older man, like 60 or over, walking hand in hand with a young woman? It seems like a common scene in places like Pattaya in Thailand. And the question that comes to mind is, what's going on there? Is it love or just interest? Hold on, I'm not here to judge. I just want us to think about this together. These couples follow a very clear pattern. Usually it's a foreigner from a wealthy country, and the young woman is a local. Is there genuine love in all of this, or does the economic reality weigh in? It seems like too much of a coincidence, doesn't it? What we're going to explore here is why this happens so much in these countries. We know that the economic conditions are different, but is that all there is to it? The question remains in the air. And in the next few minutes, we're going to better understand what's behind these relationships. Yeah, I yawned too. Now let's take a step back and think about what's really going on behind these relationships. The truth is that many times, what brings these people together isn't just the famous love at first sight, right? Money, the economic context, plays a huge role in these stories. And that's no secret to anyone. Imagine this. You're a young woman who grew up in a country where life is hard. Money is tight, and opportunities are scarce. Then along comes an older man, usually from a developed country, with a solid retirement fund, willing to offer you a stable life, comfort, things you may have never had before. And honestly, who wouldn't think twice about that, right? It almost seems like a magical solution. What happens is that in countries like Thailand, where inequality is glaring, this kind of situation keeps repeating itself. And not just there, you know. We see something similar here in Latin America too. The difference in realities is what makes these relationships seem so normal over there. That's why the older guy from a rich country ends up becoming attractive. Not necessarily because of who he is, but because of what he can provide. And what brings these people together isn't just love. Many times it's financial security, the opportunity for a better life. The man brings stability, the woman brings youth. And this creates a dynamic where the two complement each other, in a way. But let's be honest, this story has more layers than it seems. Poverty is a real factor that can't be ignored. And when survival is at stake, choosing a partner often goes beyond physical or emotional attraction. But then, is this right or wrong? It's hard to say, isn't it? Let's get serious now. These relationships between much older men and much younger women, as we've already started to discuss, raise an important question. Is it love or interest? And look, I'm not saying it's impossible for real love to exist in a relationship like this. But when we see it happening all the time, in such specific situations, it's hard not to think that financial interest plays a crucial role. Think about it with me. Of course, a young woman can fall in love with an older man, someone who brings security, maturity, life experience. But is it always like that? Or is it that many times it's his full wallet that really tips the scale? In many cases, these relationships follow such a similar pattern that it's almost like there's a formula. He has money and stability, and she brings youth and beauty. And look, this happens all over the world, not just in Thailand. But there, as we've already said, it's very visible, almost without any disguise. And that's where the question arises. To what extent is this a real relationship? Isn't it more of an exchange, where one side offers stability and the other offers youth and companionship? Of course, there are exceptions. There really are couples who truly love each other despite a big age difference. But the truth is that many times, this kind of relationship is born out of a need, whether emotional or financial. She wants security. He wants someone to share his life with, maybe a life that's already nearing its end. And money ends up being the factor that brings these two worlds together. So to sum up, we're not here to judge. But it's worth stopping to think. What is really driving these relationships? Is it genuine love, or a search for security and comfort? That's a question that lingers in the air. How are these relationships viewed, both locally and around the world? Because guys, it's one thing for us to judge from the outside, and something completely different for those who actually live it. In Thailand, for example, these relationships are, in a way, accepted by society. It's not like people are giving them a standing ovation, but it's so common that no one is really shocked by it. It's almost part of the local reality. Many Thais see it as a kind of life business. The woman gains stability, the man gains companionship. Everyone benefits in some way, you know? But if we look at it from the outside, especially coming from countries like Brazil, Europe, or the United States, it seems strange. The age difference, the financial motivations, all of that sounds a bit forced, to say the least. A lot of people look at it and immediately think, this is exploitation. He's taking advantage of her vulnerability. And that's a valid perspective, right? After all, in many cases, the woman's economic situation is the main reason behind this relationship. Now, it's interesting to see how, in different cultures, this is viewed so differently. In Latin America, for example, it's not that this kind of relationship doesn't exist. Of course it does. It's just that many times it's seen from another perspective. Here, there's still very much the idea that a relationship should have a strong emotional foundation, even if, in some cases, financial stability is a welcome bonus. Another interesting point is the cultural clash. The man, usually coming from a developed country, arrives with a very different mindset and lifestyle. And the woman from the developing country has a completely different reality. It's as if they're living in two parallel worlds. This creates an interesting mix, where each person tries to understand the other, but in reality, many times the only bridge connecting them is money. So, the cultural impact is huge. What's considered normal in one place is a taboo in another. And in the midst of all this, who decides what's right or wrong? Each culture has its own way of viewing these relationships, and what might seem like exploitation to one person is acceptance, or even an opportunity to another. The point is, we can't ignore that these relationships say a lot about the society in which they happen. Now let's think about this. What lesson can we take from all of this? What can we do differently from now on? The truth is, these relationships make something very clear: the weight of economic inequality in people's decisions. And if we want to see real change, the way forward is to ensure more opportunities for everyone. Just imagine a world where no one had to get involved with someone just for financial security, where emotional choices were truly free, without the pressure of money or status. It sounds like a distant dream, doesn't it? But that's the direction we should be heading. In the end, the question that remains is, are these couples together for love or for sponsorship? It's tough, isn't it? The important thing is for us to reflect on the impact of inequality and strive for a world where choices are free without this financial pressure. Now here's the thing, my friend. Take this video and send it to your old buddy who's struggling here in Brazil. Who knows, maybe after this, he'll become the Brad Pitt of Thailand, right? Tell me, what do you think? Do you think love can survive without a PIX transfer? Comment down below with the word patrocinio. Oops, sponsorship. And let's keep this conversation going. See you in the next minuteinfocus. Thanks.
And the PIX? Still nothing? Huh?